It frees you to communicate. A random stranger in the park asked me for advice on language learning. So this dad, he kept one eye on his very energetic boy and 2 ears on me while I gave him my best advice at lightning speed. And I'm gonna do the same thing for you. What are the best things that you can do to really take your English to the next level? You want to get good at speaking English, right? Now, this may not surprise you, but it's so important. There is absolutely no substitute for speaking every day. If you want to feel natural and comfortable speaking English, you are building yourself a second home in English. You are constructing this, putting all the pieces into place to build this home for yourself, and you have pieces that you still need to fill in. You don't necessarily know what those are until you discover them by speaking. Last time we talked about speaking in a very safe environment. To your kid, to your dog, to your plant, to your fish, or into your phone. This time, we're going to talk about speaking and expanding your comfort zone. First, look for opportunities to talk to people. I especially want you to notice any time where you feel some anxiety, where you would normally avoid speaking in English, and I want you to redirect yourself toward that situation. Be brave and just speak. One of the things that can help you with this is letting go of the idea that your English is supposed to already be perfect. Your English doesn't need to be perfect for you to speak. It can cause a lot of anxiety if you are trying to pretend that you already know everything. Just drop that and be okay with not having perfect English. You have an English that allows you to communicate. And when you throw yourself out there and get into these situations, it's going to get easier and easier for you to do that. And you will get more comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that will allow you to keep practicing, keep putting yourself in those situations, build that muscle, and it's going to get a lot easier for you. What I personally do in Spanish is I use every opportunity not only to practice speaking, but even to ask questions of native speakers or people who speak Spanish really well. If I am in the grocery store and I see something and I wonder how to say that in Spanish, if I see a Spanish speaker in the grocery store, I will go out of my way to talk to that person just to ask them, what is that thing called? How do you describe this in Spanish? So I have built my Spanish over the years by asking questions. This is the opposite of pretending that you know everything. It gives you a lot of freedom if you let go of that feeling that you are already supposed to have perfect English. It frees you to communicate. Okay, so that is one strategy for effective English learning. What's the second one? Listen, I have a confession to make. There's something that has been bothering me this whole video, the whole time I've been editing it. So meet me at the end of the video and I will confess. So far, we've talked about speaking. So you are the one generating the output here. It's from the contents of your mind, your life, your environment. You want to alternate between generating your own output and getting input from other sources. Because when you get input from other sources, you are going to hear a ton of vocabulary, a ton of structures that you would never have used yourself. So you will really enrich your English this way. So input means reading and listening. Books, audiobooks, podcasts with transcripts, even the listening that you do in conversations. So you are generating language and you are also taking in language. And when you take in language, you will also be looking for new things to add to the home that you are building in English. When you see an amazing word, you say, ooh, I want to take this word for myself. I never knew that word. I never used that word, but I am going to take this word. I am going to put it into the home that I am building for myself in English. How do you get that word into your English? By using it. Make connections from that word that someone used in their story to something in your own personal life. Because when you learn language in context, it has all of its natural associations and connotations. You take that and you apply it to your own life and make it meaningful for you, and you are making connections in your brain. The more connections that you have to something in your brain, the easier it is to get back to it, because every connection is a path back to that word. So you have a lot of paths back to that word or that phrase, and this will help you remember it. But there is one thing that will absolutely supercharge your learning and form a really strong memory. The absolute best way to really build a strong memory is this. Test yourself. Testing yourself is the best way to learn. What do I mean? Watch this video next. So there have been challenges that did not have easy solutions. But as of a couple of weeks ago, suddenly there's a solution that exists that did not exist before. So I have to investigate